is Matthew McMahon. I am an actor and voice actor based in Ireland, and welcome to the Scene Doc. This is basically a new podcast series I'm doing where I'm talking about the industry from my perspective and my experiences and different things I've seen and done, and I'd love to hear from other actors what their experiences are, or maybe you're just somebody who isn't an actor and maybe you have an interest in it, or you're just curious about the industry. This might be for you. And if you want to hear more of this, don't forget to subscribe over on my YouTube channel at Matthew McMahon Actor. You can also subscribe on Spotify if you're listening to it as a podcast. So today I want to talk about an area that has recently come quite close to my heart, and that is creating your own work. I think creating your own work in this industry is vital, because in an industry where so much of it is out of your control, having a little bit of control is so important. Apart from the fact that it's artistically fulfilling, it's also a great way to get your name out there, a great way to earn money, first of all, which is always very difficult in this industry at the best times, and to get your name out and help you network with people. I wrote a play last year called The Flowers of May. I am a father of 3 children, 2 of which have autism. And the play basically describes 2 parents raising a child with autism. My wife in the play, Eileen Gomez, she is also an actor who is a parent of a child with autism too, and together with our director Emma Saunders, it was sort of a collaboration to try and tell this story and to shed some light on the world of autism, and particularly parenting a child with autism. That whole world can be so lonely, especially when you're new to it, and I know from experience that if I had some kind of outlet like that, or some kind of play or TV show that would have eased me into it a bit more, I would have felt a lot more secure and more confident about the whole thing, because it's scary when you're told your child has a hidden disability. Any idea of what you thought being a parent to a child as he or she grows up changes completely, and you don't know what to expect now. You don't know what's going to happen, what their needs are going to be, but also you don't know how other people are going to react, because it's a hidden disability. And I know with my sons Matthew and David, they're not quote unquote obviously autistic. You know, they don't, I hate, and it's in the play, I hate when people say they don't look autistic. They don't, but that's not the point. Anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. I've done theatre, I've done screen, and I remember getting this idea and approaching Eileen about it to see if she'd be interested in doing something like this. Then I approached Emma, our director, who has no experience of autism or that world, and I thought that was a great idea to get someone who doesn't know that world in to direct it, because there's maybe certain things, certain lingo, all that kind of thing that she wouldn't know that could help us make it relatable to everybody outside the world of autism. Because the one thing I wanted to do was open people's minds to that world, open people's minds and open their eyes, because when you're on the outside looking in, and I know this because I remember what I was like before my kids were born, and looking into maybe a kid having a tantrum or something, and you'd maybe not touch, but you subconsciously judge that child and that parent without thinking. And now that I'm on the other side of it, you see it a different way. So I wanted to make a lot of the lingo quite relatable, or not relatable, accessible, that's the word. I wanted to make it as accessible as possible so everybody could experience it, enjoy it, take it in, and maybe learn something from it. The process of that started upstairs in a pub. I wrote a script which was about 20 minutes in length. The original plan was to submit it to the Seen and Heard Festival in Dublin. That first draft was a good start, but it was a long way from what it needed to be. It was also very unapproved by my wife, so I had to completely rewrite it. Not completely rewrite it, but I had to change a few things and expand things and explore different areas. But that all started with 3 people at a table upstairs in a pub, working away. To get from there to opening night took a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And I think certainly when that night, thinking about the journey we had to go on to get to that opening night, it was terrifying and it was quite overwhelming, but you take it one step at a time, you'd be amazed what you could do. Fundraising, applying for funding through the public bodies, through the arts offices, all that kind of thing. We got a lot of help off a lot of friends in different areas in terms of promotion and all that kind of thing. Props, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, we had a good old-fashioned table quiz. That was our first kind of fundraising option. We also applied to the local arts office, got a bit of funding off them, and that set us on our way. And you get your things in order and you rehearse. And the scary thing about creating your own work is it's never been done before, so you know nothing to gauge it with. There's no audience or reviews that you can say, well, this was good for someone else to do it, so if they can do it, we can do it. You're putting it on for the first time and you have no idea how people are going to react to it. Also, I must say it was quite scary in the sense that it's quite a personal topic. The character I play, David, he's quite based on me in terms of his experiences, his feelings about different things, so I was, for all intents and purposes, bearing my soul on stage, which, I mean, I know as actors we love a challenge and we love the art and we love exploring different areas of ourselves, but it was quite scary. But again, this goes back to the other thing about being an actor is your life experiences shape you as an actor. It's one of those fantastic aspects of the job that the more you experience in life, the more you can put that into your work. And I suppose the joy of it was I didn't have to find the character. I knew the character quite well because I'd lived in his shoes. You know, I go into areas of the play where my character is questioning his ability as a father and he's watching his son stimming away, which is basically a thing autistic people do when they're regulating themselves. The joy of working on your own work is you continue to hone it even as you learn it, as you rehearse it. And that's the beauty of it as well. And it was with 3 friends, so in some ways it didn't feel like work, even though we were working quite hard. And you do what you have to do to get by. Our set was basically our director's living room. We left her with an empty living room, essentially, and took it to a theatre. I purposely left the set as simple as possible, because I knew I intended to travel with it. I intended to take it to different theatres. So yeah, that's the kind of things you have to think about. As well as what kind of story do I tell, you're also thinking, how would I stage this? What can I get away with? What's going to be logistically easier that I can use to tell my story? So all that's kind of things you need to consider as well. Do I need a big, massive, elaborate set? And if I do, how much is it going to cost me? Is it going to break the bank? Or can I get away with quite a simple set? Which also works too. I'm a strong believer in story shouldn't necessarily be dictated by how elaborate the stage is. I think the story itself should enamour an audience. Don't get me wrong, I love a big, massive, fancy set. I've worked in them, I've been in audience where the set's been amazing. It's great, but when you're doing your own bit, and let's be honest, our group isn't a big, massive theatre company, we're a small group, so it needed to be simple. You do what you got to do to get by. And it felt quite family orientated. Now, we're all quite close, we're good friends. Our stage manager was Eileen's daughter, Eileen, who plays my wife in the play. So yeah, it was very close-knit and it was lovely. That was an aspect of it I really enjoyed. Come opening night, I genuinely have never been as nervous in my life, because it's that thing where you're presenting your own work. It's your soul basically on the line. It's never been performed before. You've no idea how people are going to react. We got a standing ovation on our first night. It was the most surreal moment of my life, professionally and personally, because it was such a personal story. But the thing I didn't realise was how relevant it was to people's lives. Because during the whole process of writing, rehearsing, making the show, the amount of people I didn't know either had family members who were parents of autistic kids or had autistic children themselves. It's amazing. In a world where you feel so alone, you actually no idea how many people actually know what you're going through, but you don't talk about it. And that is the beauty of the art. It affects people the way no other form of communication can, I believe. The amount of people who came up after the show or contacted me via social media or whatever and says, I'm a parent of an autistic child. I have never felt more represented or relevant. I felt so alone. This has been a fantastic experience seeing the play. That meant, in my mind, it achieved what I'd set out for it to achieve, was to, again, spread light or shed light on the whole area, make people feel that they aren't the only ones going through this. There's plenty like them. But also the amount of men it affected. Like, as I said before, my character as a father, and he goes into the whole area of, am I a good enough father to my kids? That kind of thing. Men really took it to heart. And again, it goes back to this whole thing of, men don't talk about their feelings and they don't express how they feel about certain things because, quote unquote, it's a sign of weakness. When you have an outlet that shows them that they're not the only ones who are doubting themselves or have these kind of worries, that's really powerful. So that meant we had something that we could present to an audience that worked and that people took in and took a lot from, which artistically is the most fulfilling feeling I've ever felt in my life. And we travelled with it. We travelled to different theatres around the country, which was an amazing experience in itself because I had never, again, as I said before, I'd never produced my own work. I'm learning the whole way as I was going along it in terms of staging, striking a stage, taking stuff in, transporting it. Couple of times we forgot things, we had to run back down the road for things. You make mistakes, it's all about learning, that kind of thing. And it's been a great source to market myself with. In social media, you're putting up posts about it, your snippets, or you've been talking to other people on different outlets about it. It's a great way to market yourself as an actor, and we finished the tour of it last year. We are planning on doing more with it, hopefully in the future. So there are plans to perform it again down the line. And obviously we'll be using those opportunities to market ourselves as actors again. And that's what it's all about. It's creating your own work, but it's also getting your name out there, creating contacts, creating work to create more opportunities. And as I said before, it's quite overwhelming when you think about it at first, all the things you have to go through. But if you take it one step at a time, write a scene. If any of you have followed me on YouTube or TikTok, I write silly little sketches and funny videos, or what I think is funny. Some people think it's funny, and just put it out there. It's entertaining for yourself just to do them, and some people find them entertaining and funny as well. But it's also it's practicing your writing skills, your filming skills, your editing skills. All of that shapes you as you move forward, and I think it's invaluable. I think it's the one thing in an industry that, let's be honest, is incredibly oversaturated with actors. Being able to create your own work, whether it's YouTube videos, TikTok videos, right up to making your own play, making your own short films, making your own films, whatever it is, writing your own songs. It's imperative you do that to some degree, I think, in terms of promoting yourself, marketing yourself. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So if you're on YouTube, pop them down in the comment section. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I will link my social media accounts and you can contact me there in the show notes. But this is just being a little kind of delve into that area of my experience with the industry. I'll be doing more of these kind of podcasts moving forward about my experience, all that kind of thing. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the podcast, The Scene Doc, on Spotify. I'll put all the details where you can follow me elsewhere in the show notes, in the description below. And thank you so much for watching and listening, and please come back next time. My name's Matthew McMahon. This is The Scene Doc.